Hello, my name is Jon Welland. I have a show here called Enigma at the Insider Gallery in Dartmouth. I just want to talk a bit about my work, to sort of talk about the thought behind it and my use of symbolism. Now, if you could go to that part of the gallery, that's called The New Man, and it's based on transhumanist ideas of humanity that are becoming sort of vogue in the past 10 years or so. It's basically a take on Da Vinci's original study called Measure of a Man, which basically used to demonstrate proportions, right? And behind there is that motif is sort of a technological sort of metropolis behind it. And framing it, there are 4 of these pieces. They're a set, and they encapsulate various modes of thought throughout the ages. You know, the bottom left being occultism, then we move to this, which is mechanics, sort of a steampunk type design, followed by analog technology and then digital technology. Now, this is called Flowers of Evil, and it's titled after a volume of poems by a French poet named Baudelaire. Fleur de Mal was called, which translated as Flowers of Evil. It sort of illustrates the notion of romantic poetry in the era where, by romantic, they don't mean love poetry, but rather just the uncensored, just totally open expression of any feeling you might have, right? So this is one of my older pieces. It's been in at least 2 other shows. It's called Spirit of the Radio, and you can see here you've got one of these old-fashioned radios with an antenna, but behind the antenna sort of resembles a cross in itself, but it's surrounded by a Celtic cross being held by an angel. It talks about how there are utopian ideas every time there's a new form of technology created, especially communication or information, where everybody's saying that's going to change the world, that'll just be useful for all these different things, but it never really turns out the way you'd expect, right? So, this isn't actually an illustration for a series of short stories I've written called Sunstorm, about a global power blackout caused by a solar flare. It looks very science fiction-y there, but most of the stories are just about ordinary people and the adventures they have during those blackouts. This, if you can make out the face on it, that's Poseidon, the Greek god of sea and storm. I use mythology a lot in my art. I studied therapy and know about Jungian archetypes. So that's another thing that influences my work. Now over here we have a fantasy piece I did. Once again you have like cybernetically enhanced organisms like you might see in science fiction stories, but like Roger Zelazny. So it's very generic. It's like a comic book art, really. And then, of course, this I just titled Surrealistic Cartoon. The image actually came to me in a dream, and I just drew it the way it was in the dream. So it's basically uses the philosophy of surrealism in a sort of pop art, cartoonish way. And over here, this is one of a series of images I've created called Cosmopolis. They're basically a few sort of abstract paint pictures that try to depict a futuristic city. and I've done 2 others in various mediums. And finally, over here we have, I call it ephemera. Once again, it draws upon a lot of technological sort of symbolism. Based loosely on a story of the Lord of Entropy, where it lives in a plane where all sorts, everything people throw away, and that's where it winds up, including, you know, skeletons and electronics and everything like that. So yeah, this is the work I have on display here today. I'm also quite a prolific writer. This first one is based on Hermetic philosophy, and it's basically 4 prose poems for each of the 4 elements: earth, fire, air, and water. It was actually included in a collection of writings by the Halifax Humanities teachers and students. Earth. It is solid, unyielding matter. Thoughts can be fixed in permanent form through action performed on the material plane. Routine and ritual become material through constant repetition until they are etched indelibly on the human soul. It is the pattern that forms life of inanimate matter, and it is matter that it becomes after death. It is pattern, the force that gives thoughts their permanence. It is the order that staves off chaos and is the crux of meaning and certain significance. Fire. Fire represents pure, unbridled energy. It's the key to both creation and destruction. One always involves the other. It is anger, rage, and violence, but it is all passion and intense feelings, whether positive or negative, creative or destructive. Without its energy, there is inertia and stagnation. It represents change in the most drastic and fundamental nature. It is activity, motion, the primal force that gives life purpose, the power behind all patterns of thought. Air. It is ephemeral, shifting from moment to moment. It is the realm of concepts and ideas. They waft by like stars in the sky. All you need to do is reach out and snatch them from the ether before they are wafted away. It can be shaped by the will into thought constructs, mental experiments. Alone, without pattern stability, these patterns will vanish and be replaced by countless variables, countless notes to haunting songs now forgotten. Water, a still reflective pool. It is a crystal clear pond whose reveals secrets, hidden truths, but also lies and deception. Beneath the surface lies the depths of the human soul. Its waters can restore life, heal, and invigorate, but it is only in the midst of a strange, disturbing dream, a deep sleep where there is no pain, but also no passion and drive. It is where you may be entranced by your own reflection, at which you stare as the years drift by without meaning, as you slowly age and pass away, carried by the water flowing past your feet. Yeah, so now there is a bit of writing that accompanied the first piece I showed there. It's titled.
You should start with that prose.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
The new man, he gazes at the world with plastic eyes, his heartbeat regulated with pulses of electricity. Wires are laced through his brain like a lattice of fine fibers, which couples into his computer and through it to the virtual world. Standing on metal limbs, facing the dawn, he is the new man.
Shouldn't he be facing the sunset? Are you seriously that optimistic about the next 50 years that he's facing the dawn?
Well, either one or the other.
I know, but you chose dawn. It's essentially so, cup half full considering the impending, ecological at least, but social, political.
Yeah.
The next 50 years is going to be incredibly interesting. But I'm glad you can still look at it as a dawn.
Yeah.
I would have put sunset in there.
Really?
He's looking at the sunset.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another piece I wrote to accompany a painting that isn't in the show. It's called Electric Fire. There are those that believe in the foolish myth of the coming dawn. They believe that at this time the darkness will end when a fiery orb rises in the sky to give the believers heat and light. They cannot accept the truth that only the light we will ever see is electric fire that issues forth from wire glass and is fashioned by our own artifice. It allows us to persist in our industries long into the darkness of eternal night. When the walls between worlds grow thin and our imagination can soar free. Yeah, no.
I do touche there.
Yeah. There is I write things that in common sort of culture, computer culture especially, is called flash fiction, which are very, very short stories, like no longer than a page. So I've written many of these. I'll share this one with you called In the City of Light. In the City of Light, a massive wilderness of glass and steel, appearing to change daily to suit its citizens' needs. There are reflections of the many-hued electric fire that millions of glass bulbs spit into the night. Seen through modern eyes, this is commonplace, but through the eyes of a shepherd, a humble prophet from nobler ages past, it has become an apocalyptic vision, one so mind-boggling and alien to those ancient eyes that his life is forever changed. He wanders down these concrete ribbons that crisscross the earth, past these four-wheeled horseless chariots spewing out noxious fumes as they thunder past. The strangely people dressed there ignore him. He is just another homeless, hopeless street corner prophet in a dirty robe. Mankind's last sane man is left alone, without food or shelter, wandering around the core of the City of Light, a prophet invisible to all those who refuse to see. And I'm going to finish with one other piece of flash fiction called The Lonely Quark that I actually submitted to a Scientific American writing contest for flash fiction based on quantum physics. And this is what I came up with. It's called The Lonely Quark. If you're reading this, then my attempt was successful, and you're most likely wondering how I could do such a thing. The answer is we're all buzzing around this hornet's nest of the mind, but it has now fallen silent, and the only explanations for my action lay on this piece of paper resting in your quite capable hands. Why does a man take his own life? Maybe it was to find the exit of the eternal cycle that bound me here to this miserable and pointless life. There is no easy way to describe the cycle I have postulated. The language of the physicist is one of numbers and variables and not words. Nonetheless, I suppose I must try. Deep within the fabric of existence, a lonely quark pulses, expanding and contracting over and over again, literally since the beginning of time itself. It is a singularity that periodically explodes due to its mass and sends a spherical cloud of matter and energy spewing out into the ether like a fine mist of light. This universe will continue to expand until its inertia is overcome by its own weight and collapses again into the singularity. At this scale, we could be describing a subatomic particle, but also our own universe. It all depends on our perspective. It has been proven that information can survive being compressed into a singularity, and that it can define the form the next explosion takes. This means that the events in each and every version of the universe will transpire in exactly the same way, including the events of our lives. Thus, we now veer into the realm of mysticism, and I will struggle with the notion that I'm cursed to live this sad, miserable life over and over again for all eternity. My gift for physics and mathematics has come to me at a terrible price. A mild form of autism that has kept me isolated my entire life. I stumble around talking to myself, accompanied by the sound of laughter. I even hear their laughter when I sleep. In my solitude, my studies have taken me far from the world of society I've noticed it, and these led me to areas that I've called madness. So now I've finally found a way out. At this stage of development, the universe should be starting to collapse, but is continuing to expand. This version of our universe is the last. I'm finally free of the cycle of life and death that until now has bound us all. So even though I must have taken my own life every single time over the ages, this will be the last. Soon this lonely cork will fade into the darkness, and everything that exists will be no more.
How is that?
Couple years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is all I have for you people today.
Thank you very much, Jon Welland.
I'll formulate my question while he's doing this.
Okay.
Yes, I want to sound intelligent.
This is Chris Jackson and Jon Welland.
Okay, so John, looking at some of your pictures that involve science fiction and fantasy, are there any movies or any authors that inspired you to do these pieces?
Well, they're drawn upon a lot of different, comic book type imagery and style.
Oh yes.
But as well, some of my favorite science fiction authors are like Zelazny and Moorcock.
Oh yes.
Roger Zelazny and Michael Moorcock. Zelazny has written lots of work about futuristic deities that have technology that give them their powers.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it's quite well written as well. There's, of course, the cyberpunk writers, especially William Gibson and Neil Stephenson. Cyberpunk is basically a form of science fiction that developed in the 1990s based on computers and
Gibson, essentially.
Yeah, Gibson, exactly. And like I said, I mean, I too, just like the writer I mentioned, draw upon things like mythology to sort of enhance the work, right?
Oh yes.
And then of course, like I'm very, very into the works of like Joseph Campbell and Carl
Oh
Jung,
yes.
and how they've analyzed, mythology and belief throughout history, right?
See,
So
Yes.
that's this kind of, there's a lot of thought there.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Love
I really
this.
think our brains are as fundamentally different over the last 2 centuries. Mysticism coming into the industrial age,
Yeah.
but then this century and analog and then digital. I mean, our brains fundamentally different over the last 2
Some people
centuries.
have argued that, others dispute it. I
You
never
dispute
really
it.
intended to actually define like our minds, just
But it does. Oh, it very much does. It raises those questions really well.
yeah.
Yeah, I like the new stuff. That's the first time I've seen the rough drafts. This is the first time I've seen it together. That is a great theme you've got going.
Yes.
Yeah, after that.
What happens to be your favorite frame? Like the one of them that you did that you were really proud about?
Well, obviously there's this one.
This one there?
Yeah,
Okay, why is that?
radio. Well, it was one of the first really large pictures I actually created, right? A lot of my stuff was much smaller, and I had to break open that box and just stop drawing on 8x11 paper and work with like bigger canvases, lots of color and detail. I was always too scared to really express myself. It was like
Okay.
I was kind of timid for a lot of years there. And when I found myself just going all out and creating images like this, it was really quite remarkable. Then of course, this is sort of the corner piece for this exhibit, and it's something I created a year ago, and I'm very happy with that as well. A a lot of my work does include textual elements, right? Whereby I usually write something to accompany the piece and display it with the piece, which I've done in a number of other shows.
So when you look at this one here, how would you, is there a message that you wanted to communicate to people, or like a way to define?
Well, so in a lot of ways, it's the same reason people write science fiction, is to get people thinking, right? Introduce ideas into culture, so they can be thought about and talk to them. Yeah.
Would you say that art should be more and more included into our everyday lifestyle?
Well,
Does art help a lot our lifestyle?
I think
Your art, I mean?
my art,
Yes.
well, it certainly has defined my life for the past 10 years or more now. And I think that the presence of art is essential to a thriving community. And any sort of artistic activity should be encouraged. There are a lot of people who are known as amateur artists or amateur musicians or writers who just do it for the love of it, really, and don't consider themselves, that good, but it's still part of their lives and it enriches their lives.
So
Everybody's blogging lately, so it doesn't matter how amateur you are, it's getting out there
Yeah.
more than it ever did.
Yeah.
taking the
Sorry, John, have you ever or considered designing tattoos? That would be a way
Actually-
to bring your art into your everyday.
Yeah, actually, I've given that thought. A lot of people have told me that I would make really good tattoo designs. What I discovered, of course, is you go to a tattoo parlor in town, and usually the tattoo artists on site do their own designs, and they don't really buy designs from other artists. But if I was able to sell designs to individuals and have them take the picture into the tattoo shop, and they could have it being done based on the picture I supplied, right?
Fantastic style that I think would lend really easily to that.
Yeah.
There's 3 tattoo artists that are affiliated with us, who I'm sure would be delighted to see the concepts. What made you decide to do them? Because like each of them are such a great rich symbol. Whenever you look at it, it does define, like this one right here, that you were saying that you took the time to do. And even if it was like a bigger canvas than usual, you said, okay, what about if Jon Welland takes the time and accomplishes this beautiful thing? Because the wings, like how they're painted and so on, it stands out so much.
Yeah. Well, I just usually I start with a visual theme. For instance, this one, at the time I was fascinated with old bits of technology like radios and stuff, and it occurred to me that the old antennas, are basically a cross with a circle attached. And that looks very much like the symbol for the cross used in a lot of religious imagery. So I just decided I was going to have something in the background that related to that as well. So it was a very visual sort of thing I was doing. There's sort of a visual sort of thought processing happening on. It wasn't like I was trying to say one thing in particular. I just thought the image was really compelling.
It just occurred to me that to a degree it's, some of the subtext would be modern technology eclipsing the old mythology. It is covering up the angel's face.
Oh yes, yeah, it is.
But at the same time, it kind of looks like maybe the angel is broadcasting as well. It's weird though, but it's the interaction between the mythology of ancient mythology and modern technology,
Yeah.
but hints of eclipsing, hints of interacting, lots of layers.
Where would you say, John, have been the best exhibits that you've appreciated the most? Where people have appreciated your art, like today, that have been the most encouraging for you?
This is turned out very well. I've done several other shows, including outsider art exhibit at I Love Gallery that included work by a lot of the B Street artists, and I was very proud of that.
Well, that was packed. There was like 100 people there in that little gallery.
Yeah, I was very proud of doing that. The first time I really had any sort of serious piece in the show was at it was called 30 Days of Disorganized Art.
30 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was I think the 20, 30, maybe even 40-year anniversary of I Love Gallery, and they wanted us to do art that uses only technology and mediums that existed like back in the 70s, right? So I created a conceptual piece where I just diagrams and symbolize concepts and ideas and trying to link them together and create systems. And I was very happy doing that. It was a far cry from the visual work you see here. It was more of a conceptual thing that had a lot of bizarre diagrams and written material that was framed and hung along with the rest. So I was very pleased with that.
And
So-
when you do something that pleases you a lot, whenever you see the impact of your art on people, how does it feel to make people think in a better way or a different way about these subjects that you touch as an artist?
As an artist, I'm just expressing these ideas and putting them out there. I guess if I started dialogue or made people think, that's basically all I'm really trying to do.
Yeah, you said this one came to you whole in a dream. Do you get a glimpse of something and then think through it, or did a lot of these appear mostly formed in your head? Like, were there flash moments behind a lot of these, visually or intellectually or conceptually?
Well, sometimes I sit down and I methodically want to do an image of a particular thing. Sometimes it might not turn out exactly the way I intended it to, but perhaps even better.
Sometimes it's just there.
Just poof there. Yeah. So,
Well, John, thank you so much. That was fantastic. And Chris from Halifax Positive News. And John, we'll definitely invite you to other episodes.
excellent.
And stay tuned for more.